Hey, Highlander here. This is a video mainly to say and show that I've finished my my stick build, my second one. I'll just for completeness sake show the first one. This is a USB one that I can connect to my PC, which I can play MAME with, for instance. It's got two USB leads, one for each stick, and this is basically cheap Chinese parts. So this is the most expensive thing on this was making the logo, I suppose. And now made another one. This time I used high quality sticks, Sanwa stuff. For those of you who I made a little schematic. Anyway, better just to show where the up and the down and what each color of the connector is. Better quality sticks and better quality. I'm a little bit low, aren't I? Better, I think, and better quality buttons. The action buttons, mainly 4 ones, and the 2 for coin entry and player 1 start. I just used the same Chinese things that I bought before because they don't really do anything. Anyway, I finished the build. I could have done it in a really short time, but the logo, making the logo, which is laser engraved. I mean, of course it's just a Highlander logo, but the engraving, I have to send the panel off to a company, and that, all in all, it takes 1.5 weeks to do. But here it is. This is the finished product. I finished it today. Basically, I just did the install, and you can see this is the Jamma lead that comes out of it. That connects to one of those little boards, anything that has a Jamma connector. I could connect a PC, like a proper Jamma PCB to this. This has the 2-player. Player 1, player 2. These buttons are all player 1 buttons, and this is the coin and the select. This is it. A couple of things to note. It is lower than the other one because I made a mistake making this. Also, it's got some cuts and bruises. This box is very thin wood, and some things went wrong. I had to repair some stuff, so it's not perfect, but that's just down to my lack of skill, my lack of tools and all that. But I'm very critical. You know, when something goes like a millimeter off, I'm unhappy with it. So all in all, I am proud of having made this. The one thing to note is the logo. Again, this logo is better than the first one because the first one was stretched. I thought I sent a vector drawing, and I thought it was 10 by 10 centimeters because that is the limit for the price that I wanted to pay. If you go larger, you have to pay extra, so 10 by 10 centimeters. Apparently, I used the same drawing this time, and I noticed that it was larger. And they hadn't said anything about that, so they stretched. And of course, when you stretch, or I don't mean stretched, of course, you just transform it, and normally you pick up a corner and you drag it in the right direction, and then usually you lose the yeah, you know what I mean. I can't think of the word now. The height and the width they're linked, and then they're not, and it looks bad. Now this one is actually 10 by 10 centimeters. I made sure of that, and I sent this new drawing, and they put it there, and it actually looks a lot better. Also, I had them laser engrave it before I put the wood stain on. I noticed the last time that it did cause a little bit of bleeding, which wasn't a bad effect, but it was unintended. This time I had them laser engrave the raw wood with no finish on it, and it looks a lot better. It looks a lot sharper. It doesn't have the bleeding, and I wood stained. I put 4 layers of wood stain on it, so it looks pretty good. I do not mind the fact that the tiny little buttons are blue. They have a different function. They're not action buttons. So, anyway, I've tried it. Just tried Robotron on my arcade thing. I almost blew it up because the monitor that I use is a tiltable monitor. It's a monitor that I bought especially for this purpose, but I haven't used it. It has a foot, and the edge of this foot, it's gray, and I assumed it was plastic, but it was metal. So I turned the machine on. It takes a little while to start up. So I turned to my computer, and when I looked back, the screen was black. So I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? So I'm just looking at it, and it's what's going on. So my hand goes in the direction of where the power connector is, and I feel heat. And think, oh shit! So I turned the power off, and one of the wires was really hot, so it was basically making a short with the foot of the monitor. So I took it off, let it cool down for a bit, thinking, damn it, now I've gotten to this point. Now I've blown up my my 19-in-1 arcade board, but I didn't. I just had it cool off, turn it on, and it worked just fine. And I had a little game of Robotron, and I was actually good. I got to a level immediately that I hadn't been to before, so that's pretty good. Sorry about my throat. I am going to, as soon as the budget is refilled again, I'm going to buy some bat tops, because the top panel is 1.6 millimeters thick. And the stick sits on the bottom, so the end that sticks out above the panel is quite short. I can buy some extenders, but I'm thinking if I put bat tops on, they are taller anyway. So I think, especially for a Robotron, that should be pretty damn cool. So it's done. It's done in a record time. If I didn't do the laser engraving, I would be able to do it in days. And if I had the right tools, man, I could. I'm telling you, I could make 2-3 a week if I had the time to do that. I don't, but I've got 2 of these now. One for the PC, which is not great because Windows doesn't really understand that. You have to name the sticks the same even after you do a Windows update. Sometimes Windows renames the sticks, and I keep it connected. It renames the sticks, so then when I start MAME, Windows doesn't. MAME doesn't understand which stick it's which, so I have to reset up the controls, which is a bit of a pain. And an inconvenience, more like, but the Jamma stick won't have that problem because there is no programming. It's just connect, and that is it. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. Also, I'm gonna the screen behind me. This screen has my Xbox 360 connected to it. I'm gonna take this screen away, and I'm gonna replace it with the turnable screen. Then I'm going to have this setup that I have here over here. And I'm thinking I'm also leaving the 360, but I'm going to rearrange this here. And then I'm going to be able to play that because it needs a place. It needs a place to be able to do that. So I'm going to take my 61-in-1 out of my cabinet. That's going to go back to being a full-time Crazy Kong cabinet again, and I can have both of the mini, like the 19-in-1 and the 61-in-1, sitting here, and I can just switch between them. Now, last video, I showed you this stick. I've taken it apart. It is an actual Suzo stick. I know this because it has quality stickers inside. It even has the name of the guy who made it, Nico. So Nico, if you're watching this, this is a Dutch product, by the way. It was made in Rotterdam. It was made in March 1988 by Nico. That's the sticker that's inside. It's got 4 micro switches, 2 of which are bad, because if the strange thing is that if I take this apart, it felt very dry and rough, and if I take it apart, it doesn't. It feels wonderful. It feels good. The fact that the stick comes out, I don't know what the deal is with that. That cannot be intended. So maybe I'll just glue that back in. That wouldn't be a problem. I'm also, again, when the budget is replenished, I'm going to get some new micro switches. These are Landis and Gear switches, and I've noticed that when you press one, especially the up one, I believe, if I press one, nothing happens, and if I press it really firmly, it goes up. And left is the same problem. Right and down. Right is okay. Down I didn't really test, but I'm just going to replace the 4 of these, and I should have a proper stick. I think it's a budget stick by Suzo. Maybe it's an early one. Perhaps it's a late one. Someone said by the end of their existence, they started making worse sticks, but this is 88. It does. I don't know when Suzo made these sticks. Maybe this was the end. It does look. It does look like a product that is on its way to being developed instead of let's just make a cheap product. It sort of looks like they had the intention of making something nice. The actual proper competition pro sticks are a lot better. I'm making a video about Frantic Freddy 2 to be more specific. The last review video I did was of Endless Forms Most Beautiful. One of the guys watched the video, or at least to help make that, contacted me on the Lemon 64 forum and said, hey, did you know that we also did Frantic Freddy 2? Now, I'd played Frantic Freddy 2, but I hadn't made the connection that these guys were the same. So I'm going to make a video. I asked him some questions about, because the music in Frantic Freddy 2 is really cool. In EFMB there was cool music, but this has Eric Clapton, it has The Doors, it has Queen, of course, it has Blue Velvet. Is it Blue Velvet? I don't know. It's got some stellar music. It's really cool. So it's not just about the music, but I just like Frantic Freddy so much, and I've been playing it. And I used to be a casual Frantic Freddy player, but now I've been playing it so much that I'm almost capable of predicting what the enemies are going to do, and and Frantic Freddy allows you to. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm working on a video on that, and that should. I was hoping to do it today, but I just did the stick because I felt like it, and that's finished now, so I can move on to the video. Also, last night I tested the new Ultimate 64 streamer. Remember that? The application that allows you to stream from the Ultimate 64 to your PC. The video recording now has sound, so I no longer need OBS to make a recording of everything and to put it together. I can just use a streamer, and it produces a video with audio in it, which is awesome. It's really, really good. It makes things a lot easier. Of course, there's still the same problem of the video and the audio being inherently out of sync, so you have to sync them up. You can do that by experimenting with the video frame buffer. But if you use like 7 or 8 or 9 frames of delay on the video, then they both sync up well enough to make a video. So that's exciting. I think Martijn is going to upload the new version 1.21 probably this weekend. I couldn't find any problems. It just worked right out of the gate. Usually when I test, I put it through some motions. I stop the audio, stop the video. I do weird stuff and see what happens, but it's pretty robust. There's no errors. It just runs and it does what it's supposed to do. So it's pretty cool. One thing I can just a little bit of a whine maybe. Let's do that. I was watching the Happy Console Gamer Johnny. He made a video. It had pickups in it, which is fine. And I like happy videos, so I like the Happy Console Gamer. I like Canadian YouTubers for some reason. So I watched him. He had some pickups, and he said, some guy told me that I could get an HDMI cable for my Mega Drive. So here it goes. So I called this company to ask them to tell me to send me one of these cables so I can show it in a video. So they did. And so he then he figures out that he bought the cable, but he needs another kind of attachment to make it run. So I call this company and I say, well, send me that so that I can test it. And they, of course, they send him free stuff. I sort of had a weird. I think this isn't right. I mean, I get it that you get sent stuff to test. But you have to have some sort of moral, but he was gloating over it. He was, I just called them and they sent me stuff. That is wrong. I didn't like that. As a viewer, I thought, well, now you're just abusing your position as a YouTuber to get free stuff. That is not, unless you send it back, which I don't believe he does. He just keeps it. That does not go with the image of a happy console gamer that I have in my head. So I thought, what a dick, but we let this one slide. He's still an okay guy. So then he uploads a video about the Switch Lite. Of course, everyone is doing that. Everyone's buying their Switch Lites. Not Johnny. Johnny had it sent to him. Yeah, and I had a Nintendo send me a Switch. The only downside is he couldn't choose the color, so he got a yellow one. But then he does a review. We're gonna go over all of the features, and he doesn't fault it. He doesn't critique it. There's nothing. It's only perfect and positive. And I'm thinking it's a sponsored thing. No shit, Sherlock, that it's good. So that was a moment that I thought, you know what, Johnny, go and eat a big one because I'm done with it. And I gave him the harshest punishment that the Highlander could give, and I unsubscribed. So tell me what you think about that. I don't know. I just can't. I mean, I don't know. Be honest or be. Some people on YouTube, they specifically say, this was sent to me. I'm going to send it back, or I paid for this, or I didn't pay for this, and I'm going to do. It's very sensitive how you deal with that kind of thing. But gloating over, I just called them and hey, send me a free this. That's not okay in my book. And then I was thinking, I'm watching a positive review of a sponsored item. So what am I watching? Am I watching a genuine channel, or am I watching a commercial? Basically, if you're sent free stuff to review and you are you are not critical at all. You're basically just a commercial prostitute, aren't you? You're just an ad, and I don't like ads because I'm gonna guess that whatever the ad is going to say is going to be positive about the product, and there's not going to be a negative thing about it. And if push comes to shove, you're going to lie probably about a feature, or you're not going to talk about it if it does have bad features. So it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So I ended my free subscription to the Happy Console gamer who can go eat a dick, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, thank you for watching. Tell me what you think about the stick, because that was a real killer. You don't want to see the inside. It's got a bunch of wires in it. I used tie wraps, but it's anyway. Tell me what you think, and I will see you later. Bye bye.